Resource Center. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the latest installment of our webinar series. For this year, we have branded our series Perspectives 2021 as a statement of our intention to feature the wide variety of people, disciplines, and perspectives, all of whom are working towards the same shared goal of advancing safe walking and bicycling due to its many, many public health and environmental benefits. And as the slide indicates, our topic today is May is Bike Month. And our goal for today is to exchange ideas, learn from one another, and leave inspired and motivated to get the communities that we serve to bike more, especially during this month. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so before we jump into our presentation, I'll review a few logistics and a little bit about the ATRC for those of you who are just tuning in today for the first time. So first off, we're going to load some poll questions, and we ask that you complete them. There are 3 questions that will give us an indication of who's joining us today, your current familiarity and engagement with May is Bike Month, whether or not they're doing in person, as we are still kind of under a lot of restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And then lastly, since it is May's Bike to School Day, National Bike to School Day today, we also want to gauge whether or not you're working with schools and doing safe routes to school, walk to school day events, bike to school day events. I apologize. So other logistics, everyone who is not speaking will have their lines muted to minimize background noise so that we have a really quality recording at the end of this presentation. 4 questions during the Q&A portion of the presentation. Usually we have folks use the chat function and send comments to everyone, but we're having slight difficulty with that this morning. So if you can, we ask for now that you send your questions to me, Victoria Custodio. I should be on your list of panelists. Or actually send it to the host and presenters. Sorry about that minor change from today, but that way we know that the questions will make it to us, and then we can read them out to everyone that's listening in. We also have the option of raising hands, and I'll get into that in the next slide. Please note that the webinar will be recorded and posted to the Active Transportation Resource Center website, and the link is there. We're going to be sending you some information when the recording is available. And then lastly, we do ask that all participants complete a post-webinar survey that will go out in email along with the online recording when that's available. So just a few of those logistics. Next slide, please. All right. And this is so this is just a blow up of the sidebar. If you haven't located where you can share your comments and questions, you have the following icons below. And so Marianne, if you could point just to the chat, yep, the blue circle, that's where you want to ask your questions. Right now, yeah, go ahead, and if you want to add a question in, or just let us know that you're here, go ahead and do that. If for some reason we're still having issues getting your questions, we do have the opportunity to have you speak your question, and you can click on a hand icon and show that you're raising your hand, and we can call on you that way. So thank you for bearing with us as we work through this technology. But yeah, I think we'll get it, and we'll definitely work it out so that during our question and answer period, we'll be able to have this really have an interactive session. Next slide, please. Okay, so switching gears, I'd like to briefly mention a little bit about the Active Transportation Resource Center, or the ATRC. And this is especially for anyone who's just joining us today for the first time in our webinar series. The Active Transportation Resource Center was established as part of the Active Transportation Program in 2013 with the mission of providing statewide assistance to California communities, including tribal areas and school communities. And our focus is providing resources, technical assistance, and training to help advance and implement active transportation projects. So we have a website to house many of our resources, and you can sign up for our announcements through the site provided. Our team that is hosting this call today supports the ATP non-infrastructure program awardees. And it includes, our team includes a combination of Caltrans staff as well as staff from the California Department of Public Health. So I'll talk about that on the next slide. Okay, so this is the ATRC non-infrastructure team that's on the webinar today. We want to thank Emily Abrahams and Summer Lopez, who comprise the ATP non-infrastructure and ATRC management team at Caltrans, for joining us today. And then from the California Department of Public Health, we have our team of Marianne Hernandez, our brand new colleague, Judy Polikoff, and I, Victoria Custodio, who we call the Active Transportation Resource Center non-infrastructure team. We're based at the Department of Public Health, as I mentioned earlier, within our Injury and Violence Prevention branch. Next slide. Okay, and just very briefly, one last slide, so that you are aware of where we're coming from as we take on this work. Our motivation is fourfold. We really look to help California meet its long-term multimodal transportation, sustainability, health, and safety and equity goals. We are here to build your awareness, confidence, and trust in the ATRC, as well as your understanding of ATP project requirements and active transportation best practice. We are really here to assist you in making your ATP project, for those of you that are awarded ATP project funds, to make your projects as successful as possible. And then our goal is the same as yours. We're really here to get more people walking safely and bicycling safety for transportation. Next slide. Okay. Oh, Steve, thank you for your comment. All right. With all of that said, let's get to our featured speakers today. It's going to be a wonderful presentation. We're so excited to have them today. To kick off, we're going to have Allie Dorr Westbrook, who is the an associate transportation planner from Caltrans headquarters within the Director's Office and Sustainability Program. She is going to present on Caltrans 2021 May is Bike Month efforts and how the campaign reflects Caltrans' broader commitment to active and sustainable transportation. Next, we're going to hear from Sabrina Bradbury, who is the Senior Program Manager at the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. And for those of you who are not from the Sacramento area, we call that SACOG. And she's going to speak to the May is Bike Month campaign in the greater Sacramento area. And last but not least, we'll hear from Jay Fott, who runs the iCommute program. He's the program manager there within the San Diego Association of Governments. And so we call that SANDAG for those of you in the field. If you have any questions during the presentation, I want to encourage you to enter those questions into the chat box. If there are questions for our speakers that come up during their presentation, we are going to reserve some time following each presentation for 1 or 2 questions, but I will hold the remainder of those questions for a more robust question and answer session following all speakers. So hopefully that makes sense. And on that note, I'd like to turn it over to our first speaker, Allie. So Allie, can you do a quick audio check as Marianne brings up your slides?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Can you hear me?
But did we want to do poll questions?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Marianne. Okay, Marianne, if you can end the poll. I can't see the poll from where I'm sitting. So if you have the poll, oh, okay. Let's do this. I'm sorry, Allie. Hold tight. We're gonna have everyone do the polls right now. So if you can, our participants, if you can answer this question, yes or no, have you scheduled any May is Bike Month events for this year? And usually we'll get some immediate responses. Okay, it looks like the poll has ended. And so very quickly, we have around 55% of our attendees who answered no, that they actually don't have any May is Bike Month activities scheduled yet, as of yet. And I'm going to say I'm adding a yet with the hopes that they'll lead to schedule at least one, if not two, before the month is over. And then we've got 32% saying that they have answered that they are holding events, and then 14 have not responded. Okay, so that's our first question. Marianne, do you want to go through the other two? Okay. So this is probably for those that have the events that are scheduled. Have you scheduled any in-person events for this year? And this is this is mostly us at the state being curious about what's happening locally, and if you are finding creative ways to hold in-person events that are still consistent with the COVID guidance in your area. Okay. Okay, and I think the poll. All right. So hopefully the results will come up soon. And so just quickly, the results are around 57% say no, that they're not holding in-person events this year, but 13% are saying yes. So that's actually really interesting for us. And so during our question and answer period, we might want to actually hear from those that are doing in-person events this particular year. And last question. So yes, and so we probably should have framed this a little bit different, but have you had any safe routes to school bicycling events this year? And I think we're trying to get at if you're hosting safe routes to school events this year, specifically bicycling, since we're interested in bicycling this month, but let's just go ahead and be more broad. And if you've hosted any safe routes to school events, let's have you answer yes. All right. And I think that our results will come through in just a minute. Poll is ended. And okay, so this is a kind of a resounding no to safe routes to school for participants on this call today. So that is good for us to know. It's good for our speakers to know. Thank you to everyone for participating in the polls. And on that note, Allie, I think we're ready for you to kick us off.
Thank you so much, Victoria. At this time, I'm not able to share my content. I don't know if I need to get controls to do that.
Yes, I believe Marianne should be able to do that for you.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Now I have it. Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Let me just get my PowerPoint all set up and going. Okay. Can you see my screen okay, or are you seeing the speaker note side?
I can see it fine.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you, Marianne. Awesome. Well, good morning, everybody, and happy May is Bike Month. My name is Allie Dora Westbrook, as Victoria mentioned, and I'm an Associate Transportation Planner in the Sustainability Program at Caltrans headquarters. Today, I'm here to share with you all our plans for May is Bike Month and how it's an important part of our organization's strategy to get folks out biking more in the month of May and throughout the entire year, really. I'm excited to be here today, and I look forward to hearing about all the fun ideas you all have planned throughout the month. All right. Before I get started, I wanted to share a brief outline of what I'll be covering today. At Caltrans, our May is Bike Month strategy this year is focused on 5 key areas: leadership, partnership, virtual events, communication, and people power. For us, as I'm sure it is for many of you on the webinar, our typical May is Bike Month plans and activities have completely shifted during COVID-19. We all learned a little bit last year, but I think we're still as an organization trying to figure out how do we get our employees engaged in May is Bike Month when we're not in the office and constantly interacting with each other. We've had to find new ways to reach out to our employees, and a lot of that has been through virtual communications, which I'll be sharing with you all shortly. One way, though, we've kept our May is Bike Month spirit alive at Caltrans is to kick off the month with a message from our director. In years past, each Caltrans director has gone on kind of an inaugural May is Bike Month ride, but on the right, you'll see a video that we sent out to all of our staff last week to kick off May is Bike Month. In it, he talks about the importance of bicycling in California and encourages folks to participate in May is Bike Month activities wherever they're at across the state. With the recent release of our 2020-2024 strategic plan, it's also been important for us to show how biking is a key component and reinforces our shift to be a people-focused department. By connecting this plan with our May is Bike Month communications, our hope is that our staff and the public will envision a future in which the plan's mission is fully realized, to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment. Now I'm going to share with you all a little bit about the partnerships that we've had for May is Bike Month. So on the screen now, you'll see a map of the 12 Caltrans districts. And I've highlighted a few different opportunities that either we've been directly involved with or that we're supporting. So in District 2, our staff has been really engaged in the Love to Ride Shasta County campaign. And so we're sponsors on that this year and working with our staff to make sure that they sign up to be a part of the G2 Wheelers group. So that's been a lot of fun and something that our staff has been really engaged in for a few years now. In District 8, however, they've taken a slightly different approach. So you may know that Caltrans is doing district active transportation plans. And so in District 8, they've decided to focus their May is Bike Month outreach on getting folks to do a survey for their district plan. And so I've linked that in the PowerPoint slides here, but I can also share it in the chat after. In other districts across the state, we're mostly attending May is Bike Month activities that are organized by our partners. So here you'll see I've highlighted an opportunity for our staff in District 4 who are very likely going to be participating in the Bike to Wherever events. I know here in headquarters and in District 3, we're really close partners with SACOG, so you'll hear a little bit later about what SACOG's working on, but throughout the state, each of our districts has kind of taken their own approach and making sure that they're engaging with their regional partners around May is Bike Month. Another thing that's been really important for us for May is Bike Month is to get information out early. So in April, we hosted our Safety Awareness Week, and we had a whole day focused on bicycle and pedestrian safety, which you can see here. This annual event supports Caltrans' commitment to safety as our #1 priority and is a required event for our employees to participate in. This is a great opportunity to really get folks engaged early before May is Bike Month even started, but kind of get the wheels turning about how they can do, safety checks for their bicycles, or maybe they haven't been on a bicycle in a long time, and so they needed some resources on how to ride the bike properly. So this was really something, kind of a partnership that we ended up starting a few years back and have continued to work on with our Office of Employee Health and Safety. And something I really recommend for other folks, you know, I know we're starting, we're already in May now, but in the future, the earlier you can start off your messaging, I think the more successful your May is Bike Month campaign will be. All right, now to the meat of the information about what we're actually doing during May is Bike Month. So one activity that we've done now that we've had to shift to a more virtual engagement with our employees is to do weekly newsletters. So in these weekly newsletters, we provide information and updates about what's happening in our regional May is Bike Month campaign. And as I shared before, I work in the Sacramento area, so that means really highlighting the work and outreach that SITCOG has been doing and making sure that our staff is aware about how they can get engaged, how they can win prizes, just really making sure that they're connected to our regional NPO's campaign and that they know that their employers support their involvement in that, in getting involved in events. So that has been a lot of fun and a great way for us to connect as a department. We also have been encouraging our different divisions to set up teams on the May is Bike Month website. So that's been fun as well. There's been some friendly competition between, you know, our construction division and Division of Rail and Mass Transportation. So yeah, we've seen a lot of great success with continuing to make organization-specific newsletters, but highlighting, you know, great communication tools that we receive from our partners. Another thing that we'll be doing this year is May is Bike Month Bingo. And we got this idea from the League of American Bicyclists. They actually have a free template on their website that we use to kind of get some inspiration on what we could put in each of the squares. And May is Bike Month, you know, there's always so many different things going on. So it was really great for us to like, okay, this is a way that we can have one little document, encourage different types of trips, make it fun, and really encourage folks to just get out and bike. The bingo sheet itself, we created in Canva, which is like a free graphic design tool, but there are lots of existing templates available online. So if you're interested in creating something similar for your own organization, you don't have to make it up yourself. There's a lot of great materials out there, and I'm happy to share some links about that after. Another thing that we are going to be doing as a department is doing these rider highlights. And so the idea with these is to really highlight different folks that are biking in the department and to share their story with their colleagues. So here you'll see John. He was an employee of ours that really had a passion for going on you know, a little bit longer bike rides. And so one week in our newsletter, we highlighted John, and he shared a trip that he was able to go on, and also provided some routes and instructions. But we don't want to just highlight folks that, you know, are able to go on super long distances. So in other weeks, we highlighted families going on bike rides with their kids to school. We highlighted folks who, you know, had cargo bikes and were really interested in sharing the benefit of using a cargo bike instead of a vehicle. And so, you know, this is something that we started last year and plan to do again this year. And it was really a great way to kind of humanize the folks in our department who are biking for all types of trips and not just solely for their commute trips. All right, wow, I'm going through this a little quicker than I imagined. But the last thing I really wanted to talk about was the people that are involved. So for our department, we have a bike transit walk encouragement committee, and these are the folks who are really passionate about making sure that our employees have the resources they need and really the information to walk, bike, and take transit more. So in the before times, you know, as you can see here, we were out there talking with folks in the bike cage or, at our main entrance or leading group rides. In a virtual environment, we've really kind of shifted to coming together behind the scenes and figuring out how we can share this same useful information with folks in a virtual environment. So one thing I really just wanted to highlight for everyone is the importance of finding that team within your own organization or your own community and really coming together around some shared goals and ideas for May is Bike Month, because that has been, what's really helped our May is Bike Month activities be successful in the past, and something that, I've really valued as someone who, is trying to outreach to thousands of employees at different places throughout the state. So just wanted to highlight that for you all, and hope that you have your own group of folks that you can get out there and organize with. Yeah, thank you all so much for listening to my little spiel. My contact information is here on the screen, and I'd really love to just hear from you all. I think I saw a question in the chat, so I'm gonna close out here. But yeah, if folks have any questions about opportunities to engage with Caltrans around May is Bike Month, we would love to connect with you all. So feel free to send me an email. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Allie. That was great. And you're right, there is one question in the chat right now for you. And it reads, does Caltrans pay for incentive items for your bike to work committee?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, they do not. So what we do, I guess last year when we were in person, we really worked closely with the Sacramento TMA, or Transportation Management Association, and they were able to provide like granola bars for us. They also helped with distribution of commute materials and other items. But no, yeah, the department itself does not pay for incentive items for our staff.
Okay. All right, that is the one question that's made it through the chat so far. Thank you so much, Allie. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep us moving along. And if anyone has questions for Allie, please put them in the chat. But at this point, let's switch it over to Sabrina Bradbury from SACOG.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Just pull up my slides here.
Okay, great. Everything looks good, Sabrina.
Excellent. So, May is Bike Month is a regional campaign that SACOG manages for the 6-county region: El Dorado, Placer, Sacramento, Yolo, Yuba, and Sutter counties. And last May was unlike any other that we had seen, of course, since taking this month-long campaign, or we started as Bike Commute Day or Bike to Work Day, and then it was Bike Commute Month. And in 2008, we rebranded to May is Bike Month. But we've been hosting a month-long campaign since 2004. And the health and safety of our community became our top priority, of course. And we quickly shifted to a virtual campaign last year. So today I wanted to talk about what we're doing to continue that virtual campaign and some of our key messages that will continue this year, how we've shifted a little bit from last year, and then the social media tools and strategies that we'll use to convey those messages. So first, we had to make a decision to cancel all in-person events, which was, of course, really discouraging. We love hosting our annual kickoff event, but we, particularly last year, we knew we couldn't hold any in-person events. We didn't distribute any socks or t-shirts, and we just tried to focus all of our efforts on what we could do through social media and encouraging people to still get out and ride safely. And this year is a little bit different, where things are starting to open up, but we're still going to focus very much on making sure people are following local health guidelines. So we still aren't hosting any in-person events because we don't want to create a crowd. We had at least 200 people show up to our annual kickoff event each year. But we did last Saturday host a kickoff event that was completely virtual. We had elected officials and leaders from all over the 6-county region, and they highlighted what was going on in their local communities. So there were 11 different locations across the region where we had a Zoom meeting that we brought people in and out of, and then streamed it live on Facebook on our May is Bike Month page. You can go check it out. You can see that it's actually live because the first minute our MC was on mute. So it was quite the experiment, but really very cool, and actually made me think, why weren't we doing this before? Because it's such a big region. We ended up always hosting our in-person event in the urban core, which we felt, left out a lot of the region. So this was a great way to capture what's going on in more of our rural and suburban areas, all the great biking facilities that exist, ideas for where people could bike to for destinations, and really kind of focus on the trip replacement aspect of the campaign. We do encourage people to ride for any type of trip, including recreation, but of course at the core it's about behavior change. So we had folks talking about where they were biking. We have a list of ideas of local destinations on the website that are still up, and talked about, we branded backyard bike tours, and just really trying to get people to, ride to the park, the grocery store, to school. Not as much focus on commuting to work these days, because we know a lot of folks are still working from home, but there are a lot of other trips that you could replace with a bike trip. And then last year, we made some updates to the website where we just tried to display the leaderboards on the dashboard, which this is the page that folks see when they log into mayisbikemonth.com, and just kind of reorganized some of the pieces that you see on the right-hand side. There's achievements, which are the e-badges that you can earn by making a pledge or riding a certain number of trips, or we have a headwind badge for the windy days that we had this weekend. So we just tried to move those up so that people could see those and see the top 5 individuals, employers, teams, without having to navigate to the challenge pages that have the full leaderboards. And we tried to begin early with our messaging. Allie made a great point that the earlier you can start, the better engagement. So we already started in mid-April sending emails out, posting to social media. And our key messages this year are similar to last year, where we're just encouraging people to get on their bike for any reason, and less focus on the commute trips, of course. But a little different from last year, we aren't doing as much focus on solo ride. Last year we had I took a solo ride and tried to push this messaging around just riding by yourself. We're not doing as much focus on that this year, since things are a little bit different and starting to open up a bit more, but really still encouraging folks to follow health guidelines and promote social distancing when they're riding. But really, it's just about focusing on bicycling as something fun to do, get some exercise, feel refreshed, from just going outdoors and doing something active. And then we also created, so some of the strategies we're using to engage folks online is we created these badges that they don't integrate with the website, this where we have the achievements that are triggered by those e-badges are based on like trips that you log on certain days, like the bike to work day badge you get by logging a commute trip on that day. But we wanted to create something fun for people to share on social media. So we have some social media badges, and this week, well, I'll get to it, but there's, for example, a fantasy week badge. So it's shared as like, hey, dress up as your favorite superhero or comic book character and share the social media badge. And then we are looking at other opportunities in this month that we might do something on social media. We probably won't do the big virtual event that we already had for kickoff, but we're talking to the Sacramento area bicycle advocates about what we might be able to do with them in terms of another live stream event, and just trying to give people an opportunity to connect and get excited via social media. And then we also have regular emails that go out, since we know not everyone is on social media, and just reminding people about our theme weeks that we have. This week is Fantasy Week, as I mentioned, and then there's Rock and Roll Week and the sports team. So we're just continuing to send that information out both through email and social media. And here's some of the graphics that we have on there. So yesterday, of course, was May the 4th. And we're also encouraging folks to engage in challenges where we have a DC versus Marvel challenge this week, and people, you know, when they're sharing their pictures of themselves dressed up as their superhero and use the hashtag DC or Marvel, then we're going to count them up and announce a winner who won the challenge. So things like that to just give folks something fun to do and interactive. And then we also last year created some gifts that are stickers that you can use on Facebook or Instagram, either by commenting on posts or creating your own stories. So people can search May is Bike Month and find these gifts that we created for them to use however they want. Oh, and I did want to mention too that I can send a link out in the chat in a moment, but there's a Google folder that we created this year. We've always done an e-toolkit that has some draft text for social media posts and a newsletter, a few graphics like the logo. But this year we created a whole folder that has all of our social media posts so that people could grab that themselves and post, you know, any of our partners can post it as if it's their original post. We really just want to give everyone everything that we're creating, and then they can use it how they want and helps spread the word farther. So ultimately, we just want to remind folks that bicycling can be done safely and is a fun way to get some exercise and feel mentally refreshed. Before I close, I did want to point out that the changes that we made last year to create a completely virtual campaign were much easier just because of the decentralized format that we had laid out many years ago. We already had the e-badges on the website, for example, and the leaderboards and that competition piece of it, the social media posts. So we really just elevated the use of those tools that were already there for us. And as we roll into Bike Month, or we're already here, we, you know, the roots are in promoting bicycling to reduce traffic and improve air quality. And while we're not focusing as heavily on that this year, we do think that just promoting it as something fun to do will spur people to think about bicycling for trips. Once people get comfortable bicycling, they're more likely to think about hopping on their bike any time of year. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions. Let me close out of here.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. That was excellent. Just a quick question for you. Just could you repeat the
I
SACOG
see
counties?
that. Yeah. It's Placer, El Dorado, Yuba, Sutter, Sacramento, and Yolo counties.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think, that's I love that question because it reminds us, depending on where you work, the state is kind of carved out in different ways. So Caltrans has their Caltrans districts. I know Ali's presentation included a map of the Caltrans districts. And then the MPOs, the Metropolitan Planning Organizations, really have, their specific counties. And so if you're doing this work, it's really great to figure out all of the different layers of support and connection that you can have based on, these different regions that have been carved out, based on the specific discipline or industry that you're from. So yeah, and so great question.
I have a comment. This is Marianne. I work, obviously we work in Sacramento in the SACOG regions. And so Sabrina talked about that toolkit, and it just made my life so much easier when I promoted it through our California Department of Public Health employees. And I was able to look to articles, links, to put together several articles that'll go out throughout the month. So that e-toolkit is very, very helpful. Thank you, Sabrina.
Good, I'm so glad. Happy to help with all of that. I think it's, that's really the grassroots nature of the campaign we've tried to build. It's really all of our partners. There are some partners who are doing some small in-person events that we might post on social media to let folks know about those. It's kind of a fine line to walk right now. I feel like we don't have our normal events calendar posted, but that's really how we reach people, is through all of you. So thank you.
Yeah. And thank you, Sabrina. On that note, I'll just chime in and say that we all know that the guidance for vaccinated individuals is definitely getting updated frequently. So, we know that there are some different opportunities this year than there were last year. I'll just say that. And so with that, I think, that whole idea of having smaller gatherings and outdoor gatherings, of course, with being mindful of our public health measures and for mitigating this particular disease transmission. That all said, I think that there are opportunities. So it's I appreciate I appreciate you bringing that up, and also being open to that, to those smaller events that are starting to pop up given where we are now in the pandemic. So thank you so much, Sabrina. I want to keep us moving along. So if you have questions for Sabrina, please put them in the chat. And on that note, we'll turn it over to Jay Fott from Sandag.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to try to share my screen here.
Okay.
And let's
Your audio sounds great.
Okay, great. Just a moment. And let's see. I am going to go here. I think I need to hit swap. So I think you guys should be seeing the correct screen.
Looks great.
Okay, great. So hi again, everybody. My name is Jay Fott, and I'm the iCommute Program Manager at Sandag, or the San Diego Association of Governments. And let me first start with a little background about our organization. iCommute is the transportation demand management section at SANDAG, and our goal is to help reduce the drive alone rate and in turn reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We do that by offering a subsidized van pool program, incentives for taking transit and carpooling, providing telework assistance, community bike parking, bike education, and guaranteed ride home service. iCommute also promotes these programs and services through employer outreach, marketing campaigns, and annual events like Rideshare Week and Bike to Work Day, or in this case, for this year, Bike Anywhere Week. And that's exactly why I'm here to talk to you today, is about Bike Anywhere Week. So in an effort to keep everyone safe, we're shifting gears for 2021. We've created a combination of self-guided bike activities and virtual events to encourage people to get out and ride safely. So our messaging really encourages people to go by bike either to work, to school, to the store, to the beach, or just around their neighborhood, anywhere they really want to go. We encourage participants to explore their community and discover why the San Diego region is one of the best places in the country to go by bike. After all, we really do have perfect weather in San Diego. I think our average high temperature is around 71 degrees. So we certainly hope people can take advantage of that. We're encouraging everyone in the San Diego region to pledge to replace a car trip with a bike trip and go by bike from May 16th to May 22nd. People can take the pledge at our website at icommutesd.com and look for Bike Anywhere. So here is the pledge page, and I guess that I was forgot to switch the page, but there it is right there with our website right there, and you can see what the pledge page looks like. Now, typically we give out our t-shirts at the 100 pit stops through San Diego County for Bike to Work Day. But since we're not having Bike to Work Day and pit stops this year, the Bike Anywhere Week t-shirt will be available for pickup at 10 locations throughout the county between May 8th and May 22nd. So this is going to be before Bike Anywhere Week. That way people can wear their t-shirts during their rides that week. This is the first time we've done the t-shirt distribution before the event. So this is exciting. I'm glad people can wear it while they're biking that week. We partnered with local bike shops, libraries, and chambers of commerce to be our distribution sites. When people take the pledge, they receive an automatic email with a QR code that's unique to their registration, and then they have to show the QR code when picking up their t-shirt. And that helps us ensure that people are only getting one shirt per registration. We wanted to create a number of contests and incentives to encourage people to participate throughout the week. So to encourage social sharing, participants can share a selfie in their SANDAG Bike Anywhere Week t-shirt for a chance to win a spot in the Pedal Ahead electric bike program. That's a separate electric bike giveaway sponsored by San Diego County. Plus, they can also win a safety gear package, including a helmet, bike lights, a bike lock, a reflective vest. Those are courtesy of our sponsor, Rider Safety Visibility, and they're a bike advocacy group in San Diego. This year, we're also using the Love to Ride platform, so people can log their trips and win even more prizes. Each bike ride you log is an entry to win a new bike that's valued at $500, courtesy of the San Diego Bicycle Club. They also have some other smaller great prizes that you can win by logging your trips on the Love to Ride platform. And also to encourage self-guided biking activities, participants can play the REI Bike Anywhere bingo game. Prizes include a new bike and other amazing bike gear from REI. So as you can see, we're happy to be with our sponsors this year. They've really stepped up to the plate, and they're really helping make this year's event something to get excited about. So we're happy about that. The SANDAG iCommute team has also put together a toolkit of resources that employers and organizations can use to promote, prepare, and participate in Bike Anywhere Week. The toolkit it includes flyers and tips and ideas on how to help promote Bike Anywhere Week. They're provided in both English and Spanish. It also includes a video featuring the mayors of San Diego, Encinitas, and National City, using their collective voices to help encourage participation. We also included display ads for intranet sites, an email header, sample emails, and an article for newsletters. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible so the work is done and all you have to do is help spread the word. We also created Bike Anywhere Week social media cover photos that our partners can use to help spread the word directly on their social media channels, as well as some sample posts. There are a ton of easy resources in the toolkit, all of which can be found on our website. So you can access them all yourself at icommutesd.com and look under the Bike Anywhere tab. And for our social media, this is something new we're trying this year. We've been sending out requests for celebrity endorsements and landed on the Cameo website just recently. This is, if you haven't heard of it, this is where you can actually pay a fee for a celebrity to send something like a happy birthday message to a relative or a friend. In this case, we asked if they could actually say a few things about Bike Anywhere Week. So far, we've received one video from a local celebrity, Tony Gwynn Jr., who played for the San Diego Padres. We're hoping he can also take a selfie this year in his Bike Anywhere Week t-shirt. So we're hoping that happens. We just got this video this week, and I didn't practice with the video itself, so I didn't want to put it in the presentation. But if you want to see the video, you can head on over to the Sandag Twitter page, and it is posted there. And I'm sure it will be on our website soon as well. So here's a calendar of events. We created a variety of self-guided activities and virtual events to create many opportunities for participation. We've already held our webinar for employers so they can learn how to promote Bike Anywhere Week to their employees. But there is also a virtual bike yoga class that's coming up. That's not really yoga with your bike. It's actually an online yoga webinar that you can do either before or after your bike ride. People can also sign up for a virtual bike safety class or an online tune-up tutorial where they can ask live questions to our bike experts from the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition. We're also hosting a webinar this year to provide updates on planned and future bike infrastructure projects that Sandag's creating as part of our regional biking network. Plus, on top of any of these things, of course, people can go anywhere they want on their bike and simply log it on the Love to Ride platform. So for more details and a full list of all of our activities, you can head out over to our website again at icommutesd.com and look for Bike Anywhere. And that really concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
That was great, Jay. Thank you so much for sharing everything that's going on in Sandag's region. Just so impressive. I'm gonna actually start with a question that I know came up during our planning session, and it relates to Sandag's partnership with REI specifically. If we can ask you about that relationship and how it was established, and then if you could also speak to any tips or tricks that your group is aware of to establish connections with private businesses, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, certainly. So with what we do at Sandag is we actually have a marketing consultant that works with us to do all of our ad buys, to assist us also with our planning for Bike Month. And part of their task is also to do pitches to organizations and companies to be part of our sponsorships for Bike Month or Bike to Work Day, or in this case, Bike Anywhere Week. And so REI was actually a sponsor of Bike to Work Day about 5 years ago. And so they've been on our list every year to kind of see if they want to be a sponsor again. Our consultant reached out to them again this year, and this year they bit. They were interested. They wanted to participate. So it's really just reaching out to them and being persistent. We offer basically some packages that we give them something in return for their sponsorship. So they're not obviously just getting the they're giving us prizes and money, but we're giving them something in return. So it's always important that we are providing that equal opportunity of, I guess, an equal value return to them. So if they're, say, giving us $5,000, then we want to give them $5,000 in recognition of some kind through social media posts, through our website, we have more than 200 employers that we work with on a regular basis through our employer program. So we can promote their businesses to these employers through our events as well. So it's important to have that that return on investment. And we do sign formal partnership agreements with them as well. So it's outlined very clearly.
Great, Jay. Thank you so much. Looking to the chat right now and not seeing anything right away, but I want to encourage everyone to get those questions in and then thank all of our presenters right now and shift us into a panel question and answer mode. So Marianne, if you could just put up our question slide again, and also monitor the chat with me, and also if people want to ask questions by hand, we do have a smaller group than the official registration list, so we might have an opportunity to have folks unmuted and ask questions. And I'm going to pause because there's always a little bit of a delay, but if folks have questions, I encourage you to put them in the chat. I will share that one from Steve Pendergrass, who I believe is with Caltrans District 2, did share that when there was a question about incentives, Caltrans incentives, he at the district level was able to get Mays Bike Month participant stickers made as an incentive for staff up in District 2. So thank you, Steve, for sharing that. And he also, yeah, I guess that this incentive is specific for those that join the team. All right, let's see what questions are coming in. This is what happens when you do really comprehensive presentations, folks. The questions might not be forthcoming. Everyone's just sitting with all of the good information that you've been able to share. I have a question for, I think I like to ask this question of Sabrina, just in terms of figuring out your themes for this year. What was the process for leading to that? I think folks that might be looking to build out their Mays Bike activities for this month could just kind of capitalize on the themes and the messaging that either you, Allie, or Jay have introduced. But I'm just curious to know about process for picking out themes for subsequent years or future years of Mays Bike Month. What's your thought on that?
Well, we have a consultant who has, they bring proposals to us as far as what we told them we want, themes or some interaction on social media, and then it was just a little back and forth brainstorming after we had some ideas from them. But even if we were doing it in-house, I think we would kind of operate the same way where we would have maybe a brainstorming meeting to kick it off and then refine the ideas from there. We did want it to be something that people could dress up or do something like that in particular. I think some of the early ideas were, getting folks to ride to specific destinations, which is great. We do want to, bike to the store or do this ride. But for the social media piece of that, we just thought, taking a selfie with a costume on is something that's a lot more fun and interactive that anybody can do. Rather than, not everyone lives in a place that has good enough bike infrastructure to be going to the grocery store, for example. So that was our thought process in just how do we make something that's pretty low level effort and would make for good sharing of posts on social media.
Fantastic. I really appreciate that. Just hearing the thinking behind those themes. I would love to put that same question out to Jay and to Allie. Although I have to say I might not be. I hope I'm not confusing it. Jay, you do have themed events, so maybe you could talk a little bit more about some of those themed events that you're having, the bike to yoga, and where that's come from.
Yeah, well, usually what happens is we have a planning committee that gets together in September of the previous to the event. So it takes a long time to begin planning all these and put everything into motion. So we kind of have a brainstorming session, and then we kind of write everything out in a marketing plan, and then things kind of I guess work their way out. And so one of the biggest things that we have every year is that T-shirt giveaway. So the design of the T-shirt always plays a big role in what our theme or our campaign slogan is going to be for that particular year. And usually what we do is we work with our graphic designers to come up with two options for the public to then vote on. So we have option A and option B. We put it out on Facebook and social media, and we ask people to say which design and theme do you like better. So we put it back out to the community. We did not do it this year for Bike Anywhere Week because we wanted to be very specific about what we were doing with this campaign because it's different. But this was supposed to be San Diego's 30th annual Bike to Work Day. And so we had a retro theme ready to go for the last, couple of years that we've just been ready to get out there. And so we're kind of putting that one on hold, and hopefully we can bring that out next year. Since we're not really doing Bike to Work Day, we're doing Bike Anywhere Week. So next year can be our 30th anniversary Bike to Work Day event. So that's what we're hoping to do for 2022.
I love it. It's highly that makes sense, and why not celebrate 31? That's a great year too. And perfect. Allie, do you want to? I know you talked about the planning committee that you, the little core committee, the encouragement committee at Caltrans. Did you want to share any specifics about your planning process for this year and kind of your aha moments? What how you decided to land on what you landed on for Caltrans May's Bike Month initiatives?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so like I shared, the headquarters folks, we have a little encouragement group. And in years past, we've met as a group. It kind of depends on folks' availability, but we tried to meet at least once a month and really start brainstorming what we want to work on. I would say we coordinated a lot more as a group when we were working in the office because we did a lot of in-person events. So, in the past we had invited bike share providers to come out and do some tutorials. We went on mural tours around Sacramento. We would, we had a lot more event planning. So I'd say we coordinated a little bit more when we were in person. But in, the work from home environment, we've kind of just communicated via email, what sounds fun? What do you think will get people engaged? People seemed really excited about the bingo idea, so we kind of ran with that. And then for our weekly newsletters, I would say for us, our messaging right now has really been focused on, how highlighting or how biking is really important in our new strategic plan. So it's not as much as a marketing approach, but more like connecting to existing work. Because we are such a large organization, there's a lot of folks that don't do any work related to biking, right? So we really wanted to show them how there's things going on in the department that they might not be aware of, but it is important for them to know. And so we've taken the approach of, we have May's Bike Month. We also have our strategic plan. How can we kind of meld the two together and make sure that folks see the importance of bicycling in their jobs? So we've really heavily depended on the great marketing materials that SACOG has created. So thank you, Sabrina, and your team. And yeah, that's kind of been our approach, is just not trying to recreate the wheel, but using the great marketing materials that SACOG has provided.
Thanks, Allie. That makes perfect sense. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in, which is great. Thank you. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. So the first one I want to ask of all of you, and we'll start with the two regions. We can maybe start with Jay first. But did anyone have used strategies? Okay, slow streets vision zero signage, which is slated for. Okay, I'm going to break down this question in a little bit. So are your May is Bike Month efforts connecting to any of the local jurisdictions within your region's slow street or Vision Zero efforts, and including signage? And I'll throw in open streets there too, because we know that that's kind of part of it. Jay, if you understand that question, if you want to take that first.
Yeah, I know where to begin with that. With similar to Slow Streets, what we did was we had a shared streets pilot program, a mini grants that we offered to local jurisdictions this year as part of Bike Month. They were for projects where there's temporary roadway modifications that create safe and healthy spaces for people of all ages to bike or use micro-mobility options. And we put out each jurisdiction was eligible to receive a $5,000 mini grant to do one of those roadway modifications or extend something that had already been started the previous year. And I'm not we're doing evaluations this year to see what the issue was or the concern. Maybe because we only had 2 local jurisdictions apply for those grants. So we awarded those to the city of San Diego and the city of El Cajon to have their projects. The city of San Diego is extending theirs, and the city of El Cajon was adding one, was doing a new project. And I'm not sure if maybe the funding was too low to do something like that, or if it was maybe just with the pandemic and all of the things that were going on at this time, they just didn't have the staffing to do that. So we're going to follow up with a survey this spring with the jurisdictions to see how we can improve that, and if there's something we can help do better to bring that back for more successfully next year.
Fantastic, Jay. So the Active Transportation Resource Center is very interested in that mini grant program and what you learned. So keep us informed. And if you have links that you can share either during this webinar or afterwards, we can get that out to our to the participants on this webinar. I think that's definitely that connection between infrastructure and education, engagement, and encouragement is something that we really want to uphold. And so any kind of practical tips, tools, processes that are in place that advance that kind of work is something that we're definitely interested in. Sabrina, do you want to talk about that same issue and what's happening in the SACOG region? If there's
Sure.
Connections, yeah.
Yeah, we did actually copy Sandag with the mini grants a year or so ago. That they weren't just for Bike Month, but we were really just looking for a way to get out some smaller grants with one of the main ideas being this kind of tactical urbanism type setup. And but there were other things that folks did as well, like wayfinding with sidewalk chalk paint that Midtown Business Association did. But we don't have anything specific planned this year other than just making mention of the slow streets that City of Sacramento has put up, mentioning those on social media. I believe one of our speakers at the kickoff event was at the farmers market, which was right near one in Midtown. So nothing beyond that as far as a tie-in for this year, but that's a great point, that it is a great time to be promoting that. So I'll have to see what we can do to lean into that a bit more.
Yeah, I have teenagers, so I'll just plant two ideas from the teenage set. One is Pokemon related, the scavenger hunting. I know I'm botching what it's called, but that that kind of finding is
We
always
did talk
popular.
about that, yeah.
And the anime. I think you talked about celebrities. I don't know who the celebrities are for that age group, but I do know that there's a huge anime there's a lot of fervor for anime, so I'll just put that in as the mom of two teenagers. I know I'm not on your planning committees, but all right, geocaching, thank you. I need someone to help me get the right terminology. All right, so we have a question about evaluation methods for participation and behavior change based on your May is Bike Month activities. Jay and Sabrina, could you each speak to the ways you go about evaluating and capturing the impact of your programs?
Certainly, I guess I can begin. So first of all, with the Shared Streets program, the mini grant program that I talked about, we also have a partnership with UC San Diego to go out at each of those locations. Of course, this year it's just 2, but to do bike traffic counts before the event, and then also while the project is going on, to see what kind of impact and how many more people are using that corridor after the project is installed. So we do that. And then I guess as far as our overall campaign, just about everything has some kind of method of measurement that we want to go back to. So we have a goal of reaching so many employers. So we have 80 employers that we want to actually sign up this year and be part of the Love to Ride platform. So we have account executives that are going out to each of those employers, or at least talking to them on the phone and virtually, and getting them to promote the event at their workplaces, and then signing up on the Love to Ride platform. So that's a goal that we have that we can say is measurable. If we can, hopefully we'll achieve the 80 employers and beyond. And then we also have, other goals that we set. Maybe it's how many local jurisdictions, government agencies would participate in the program as well. So we have some goals that are set that we look at the end. And then how many people do we reach in social media? How many social media posts are we going to have, and what is the reach? So we set some goals and look to see if we've been able to achieve those. And most years we get really close, or we are able to achieve them. In past years, we have Bike to Work days. So it's how many participants are going to participate in the event. And we've had over 10,000 pit stop visits. This is the first time we've done a pledge for Bike to Work Day, so our Bike Anywhere week. So it's a little bit different, but we are hoping that we can exceed that. Maybe we'll have 11,000 this year. And so this year's very different because we're doing so many new things. And so we're hoping to learn from experiences this year and see if there's anything that we can do that was successful this year and carry it over into the traditional in-person events too. So maybe it can be a mix of both for some of the things that did work out well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jay. Sabrina?
Yeah, this question actually touches on, we've been hyper-focused in the last few years on performance measurement in terms of behavior change for our transportation demand management program overall, and all of the different things that we're doing. And we did work with UC Davis a couple years back to do some in-depth analysis on May is Bike Month in particular. We always do a survey out to participants, which of course is, self-selected group, about, whether the campaign is influencing their travel behavior over a longer term period or not. And we do see that it has some effect, but it was really interesting that there was actually a pretty good percentage, and I apologize, I don't have it up in front of me right now, but a decent percentage of folks were shifting from transit to bicycling during May. So it was like, oh, okay, well, what about the people who are driving? So we are actually looking to transition the campaign after this year, working with partners to see if there's another partner who's interested in being the lead for May is Bike Month, or can we build it out more to be even more grassroots, where just any partner can promote it if they're interested, but that SACOG would invest more resources on looking at what we could test in a new behavior change campaign. I don't know if that's multimodal or it's focusing on transit instead of biking. We don't know yet. But we know that the campaign has an impact, but we've seen that it's fairly small in terms of actually getting people to drive less over the longer term. A lot of it is we're kind of reaching the same folks, which, it's always exciting to work on and re-engage people and remind them. I think it does have an impact. But yeah, that's something that that we're trying to get better at, in terms of how do we know what our investments in TDM are doing for travel behavior change.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. That's really, thank you for sharing that. I think that's really, so it's great to hear that, that SACOG, that your team has been so focused on looking at the performance measures and then adapting work, from the results of those, studies that you've had done with UC Davis. We're definitely curious in learning more about that. I do see one question that's popped in. I think it's an important question. So this is from Alina Borja, who is from SCAG. Welcome. Do any of your approaches incorporate bike equity, and how so? So Sabrina, do you mind taking this question first?
Yeah, happy to. Okay. Actually, Alina, that was something that came up this year, of course, that we've really had a big blind spot there in terms of our outreach efforts and just not thinking about the equity component of it for so long. This is our 18th year as a month-long campaign, and we've just we've kind of run on autopilot for so long of working with transportation management associations and their employer networks. We did expand to working with small businesses and kind of a shop dine bike campaign, but we have not focused on equity and how we could better reach underserved and underinvested communities. So I think that's another piece that we'll just be hyper focused on as we think about our TDM work going forward.
Thanks so much, Sabrina. Jay?
So SANDAG is putting a social equity lens on just about everything that we do now. And so as far as the programs that I outlined before, everything I mentioned, like the Love to Ride platform and going to our website to to pledge to be part of the campaign. All of those things can also be done by just sending in a postcard to us, or a written note saying that you want to be part of the campaign. So those are also out there and available to people as well to do. And the prizes, everything that we do, these are suggestions of what you can do, but we'll try to put as much out there to the public through the media and working with community business organizations to help spread the word to to their resources about how to get involved and what options are available as well. So that's one thing that we're doing with some of the campaigns that I had outlined.
Thanks so much, Jay. We always intend for these webinars to be as interactive as possible. So if you have resources that you would like the HRC to be aware of so that we can share those out with our network, please feel free to follow up afterwards and share that. Or I think maybe there might not be enough time to share those resources in the link at this point. But we definitely, we want to hear from you, understand what's going on in all of the diverse parts of our state, and then learn from each other. So Alina, I know ZAGs also prioritized equity and all of its initiatives, just like Sandag and Jay had mentioned. So if there's more that you think we can learn from, please share. We know that you have your own technical assistance network for the SCAG region. But yeah, if you can share what you're working on with us, I think that we definitely want to learn from you. So thank you. So I'm looking at the clock, and we have about 5 minutes until 11:30. So I'm not sure if there's any more time for questions, or I think there's probably a minute more for questions. If there's anything burning that anyone wants to ask in the chat, please go ahead and put that in, or if there's a resource that people want to share out, that would be good to have. And I'll give it a few seconds, but if I don't see any questions, I will move forward. I feel like we did have, so Emily's question was focused on evaluation methods. Was there another question from Caltrans that we want to ask?
I was just going to highlight one thing, if that's okay.
Oh yes, hi Allie, please do.
Hi, yeah, no worries. No, I was just going to say, I think that's a great question, Alina, and one way that we're trying to incorporate equity into our May is Bike Month efforts is in our weekly newsletter. We're going to have a focus specifically on the work that the Caltrans Office of Race and Equity is doing, and also making sure that we're making folks aware of the Caltrans active transportation plans and how those are a key tool in addressing some of the inequities that our disadvantaged communities have experienced near the state highway systems. So I think that's really important to our organization right now, is bringing attention to those plans. I know folks, are getting a lot of information shared with them at all times, but it is a survey that is online, and then if folks aren't able to access it online, you can also reach out to our district staff, and their contact information is available, and then we can make sure that they can highlight for us locations where walking and biking has really been cut off or not super accessible for them. So I think that's a way that we're trying to ensure we're talking about the needs to really reach out to our disadvantaged communities and make sure that they're aware that the survey is, that it exists, that it's available, that it's something that we want to hear from folks on. So I think that's kind of, at least from our perspective, one thing that we're hyper focused on right now, and actually, for the remainder of the year, those plans are going to be under development.
Thank you so much, Allie. Yeah, we're so impressed with all of the good work that Caltrans is doing, and the new Office of Race and Equity at Caltrans. We know I've heard the new office chief, sorry if I'm getting that wrong, Amar Sid, speak to some of the work that Caltrans is planning, and I think that's great. And yeah, and how can it better feed into encouragement activities like May is Bike Month? I think that's on the horizon. Definitely something that we want to be more intentional about at CDPH as well. Okay, so I am super sensitive of time, mostly because you might hear my dog starting to bark to get out of the house soon. I'm seeing that there are some great links that are being shared that will all go out to everyone post webinar. Please know that we are here for questions and dialogue. These are our general email addresses. Caltrans team can be reached at the one address, and then our team uses the CDPH email. And then, of course, we have lots of resources on our website, and we encourage you to visit. Next slide, please. And this is our thank you slide. Okay, I think, yep, perfect. We just want to say thank you again to our wonderful speakers, Allie, Sabrina, and Jay. That was really incredible. I feel like I'm inspired. I hope all of you who are on the call today are inspired to go forth, especially during this month, and bike, enjoy the outdoors, enjoy all of the benefits of being on your bicycle and rolling around town. Thank you for joining us, and please, again, complete the post-webinar survey when it gets out to you. All right, everyone, take care.